Hello and welcome back to Factorio, and we started this massive wall around our base project. It's something we really do need to get up and running, because if we don't get it up and running, the biters might attack us, and that's not something we want. Now let's take a look. Like, this base is consuming pollution. Like, you could see the red square hit the base and it went away. That means the base is consuming the pollution, which means biters is spawning. They are basically using the pollution as a currency to build up an army to go bash at whatever is producing all this nasty pollution. Now, we don't want them to bash our stuff up. Regardless of how gently they will do it, we don't want that, because we need the stuff that the machines that spew out the pollution make. We need that, so we don't want them to destroy the things we have built and are making. I am using grenades quite liberally, because they are very good at clearing stuff. Oh, hoo, they went there. They went for this one. And this is an area where we last saw the biters, but it's not updated. So we can look at this and think, oh, there's biters there. But no, there's not. They have already died. So we're gonna have to put up more radars if we want to see what's actually happening. Let's shoot these trees, because that's what every sane person would do: shoot trees. There we go. There we go. Now, where do we want to go south at this point? Probably like here-ish. Yeah, but there's a lot of trees to get rid of. And I don't want to, like, cut down the trees. Now, cutting down all the trees around the wall is not necessary. It's not something you need to do. Especially not on the outside of the walls, like to the north, in this case. Like, I'm now outside the walls. We don't need a lot of space around it. So we can use the trees as a slowdown and like an extra natural wall against the biters, which is good. But we do want a bit of space to be able to place and see stuff. Now, on the other side, on the inside of the walls, we want a bit more space, especially when we want to automate the refueling of the turrets. See, let's place the turrets. There we go. The reason why I'm placing the turrets while I'm going is so if the biters attack, we aren't screwed. Like, they aren't going to sit there and bash on the walls like over and over and over until the walls are gone. So that's basically why we are placing the gun turrets while we're building the wall. Plus, that means we don't have to do an extra trip, which is good. We're gonna put this one here. We are going to, let's see here, let's hold, and that's where it is going to go. We put that one there. Remove a bit of the wall, or rather not the wall but the trees, and then I believe we need to cut down these trees and go down south at this point. I'm not going to hook up here. I'm going to just go straight down. So there we go. And from here we're going to go straight down, or as straight down as it's possible. Let's put down a bit more turrets. I will put down a few like this, just so they can't shoot from a weird angle and the turrets like can't defend themselves, because that can happen. There is two different kinds of enemies. The one I've been talking about is biters. That's the enemy we have been seeing so far. Now there is one more called spitters, and yes, it's the naming scheme is as obvious and simple as you could imagine. The biters bite and the spitters spit. So spitters is basically the ranged unit, and yes, the first gun turret has a smaller range than the spitters, basically. So and if the spitters and biters comes in combination, which they usually do, the spitters have free reign to attack as much as they want, while the biters are rushing for the walls, and that's who are going to get shot first, because they get into a range of the gun turret first, so they are the first ones to get targeted. Now, that's something which we do not want to happen. We don't want our turrets to be overlooked and bypassed. We basically want all the if I can remember what I was thinking about. We want the defenses to shoot everything, and like if we look up here, there might be like an awkward angle where the turret can't shoot a spitter or a biter or whatever, and if it's a spitter, they might be able to fire and attack the turret, and if the turret can't fight back, the turret is basically dead after a while. And that's something we absolutely do not want to happen, because that's a waste of resources. Now we do need to, probably shouldn't do this, I probably should now I'm going to do this. I'm going to pick up a bunch of copper. We are going to make a steel chest once the grenade is done. And boom. Put one there. We are going to take fast inserter because why not? And then we're going to put in a bunch of copper plates. So we can get that extra machine going. Now, let's see. We need to finish up. We need more. We are going to need more walls. There's no doubt about that. We have 34 guns. We are going to need more of those as well. There we go. That might be enough. There's no way of knowing if they're actually going to be enough. What I'm going to do is one more, and we are going to probably should do this. Put this away and put that in there and take at least a little bit of stone with me, so I'm not like out of stone if I need it. Now there probably is going to be like boulders with rock, with stone laying around, like this one right here. But for now we are going to remove a bit of the walls. We don't have to repair anything, and we are going to use the grenades to clear the forest. And this, as I've said before, is probably the easiest and absolute fastest way of clearing the forest. Imagine me cutting this by hand. I don't want to imagine myself cutting that by hand, so I'm actually going to refrain from picturing that image at all. Now, this like tiny bit of wood cutting is fine. It's would be faster with a grenade, but it would also be a bigger waste of resources. There we go. Now we could probably do something like this. Let's see. Could probably do something like this. And there we go. And once we like got over here, probably should do this. There we go. Just to clear it and see if there's a weird opening somewhere, and there wasn't. And that means we can do this. It's not a lot less wall, but it's a little bit less wall. Let's do this. Let's do that there, and I'm going to. These corners are usually weak spots, so doing these areas a bit, having more in these snaky wall sections is something that I would say is a requirement, because if you don't take care of your weak spots, the biters will find the weak spots and they will go for them. Here we go. And like that. Let's see, how is it start looking. Yeah, we are going to have to take care of the biter nests that are to the north to clear where the pollution is reaching. The south seems fine for now, probably because there's a lot more forest to like hinder the spread of the pollution, but we are going to have to take care of this one and this one and this one out here. And then we are going to have to do a bunch of exploring to see where the resources are. Now let's continue on with extending the wall. Let's do something like this and this, and we should probably use this one. And yes, I damaged myself with the grenade. Probably not something you should do, but it's fine. You will regenerate health as long as you're out of combat. We shove our gun away, there we go, and our HP comes back. But only if you're considered as out of combat. If you're not considered as out of combat yet, your HP will not recover. Now there is a way of restoring HP while in combat, but for that we're gonna have to go fishing. So once we are near water, I will show you what item we need and how it works. Let's see here. Can we use this as... I have to see how it looks. There is a breach here, and that's easily like blocked off. Actually going to take my time and clear that so we can actually see properly. The same over here. Not sure how we are going to do this because this one comes here. Probably going to like drag it all the way out here and then do it like this and then block off like this or something. Or we do... Okay, I'm somewhat sure of how we should do this now. We should probably drag the wall from here and down like this, and do this. Just should we move it a bit? Yeah, I'm going to move the wall. Now, picking up wall is not as fast as putting it down, but it's not super slow. It could have been way slower than it is. Let's see, because we do need to finish up the wall and putting down turrets all over the place. Let's see, we haven't put turrets along this wall. I will put one here to cover this cliff. properly, and then we are going to... And this is just the max distance. After a while we will need to put down more turrets to fill in, either because the enemies, like the amount of enemies is increasing, or because we need to or because we need just to like increase the security a bit, so we don't have to repair, because that could be a bit of a pain, especially if your walls are extending quite far. Having to repair a lot and like manually going out to repair, that can be very, very tedious and time consuming, so you should try to not like you should aim for not needing to do that, and that might mean like means that you might need more guns, just so you don't have to run out somewhere and repair. Now let's see, 8 minutes left on this episode. I said we probably wouldn't need this whole episode for this, but I was not entirely correct. I don't think we are going to need exactly the whole 30 minutes, but we have used most of the 30 minutes to build the wall. And yes, this is necessary. This is not something you should skimp on. The defenses, building up your defenses before the biters become too powerful is super important. And if you build a wall quite far out, as we have done here, so we have a bunch of space defended, it means the biters can't occupy it. The biters have to send out a settler party, like they have to send a party to settle a new area. What that means is they will send out, I can't remember how many, but it varies, but it's something like 5 to 15 biters and spitters, and they will try to colonize a new area, and that's how they expand, and how they if you have cleared an area, actually recolonize and get back to that area which you had already cleared. And this is something you should be aware of, that the enemies in this game, they will come back, they will even if you have cleared an area, they will be back in the same area unless you have walls and turrets guarding the place. Now, that's only if you have expansion on, as we do here. Now, this is a rail world. Rail worlds usually don't have expansion turned on. However, I have turned them on for this. I find it to be a lot more fun with a rail world with expansion on. Now, if you don't want to fight a bunch, just build. Either you can turn off biters completely, or you can turn off expansion. So if you have killed biters in an area, they can't like re-colonize and go back and fill up that space again. But if you're playing like the default and you haven't changed any settings, it will be the same experience as we are having in this game, in this session, where the biters will come back, they will recolonize, and they will send out settler parties to settle new land. And that's one of the reasons why I'm building such a big wall from in comparison to where our base is and how big it is, because I don't want the biters to all of a sudden be on our doorstep. So we are building a big wall. We have now successfully, unless I have missed some point, which is a possibility, now we have boxed ourselves in. So we should be completely boxed in and be totally fine and not be having any problems at all with biters unless they attack us. There are two kinds of biter attacks we can be getting at this point, and that is settlers trying to settle, having a settle point, which happens to be on the inside of our walls, aka the wrong side of the walls, and biters who are on a mission to destroy whatever is causing the pollution. So at this point, the biters we will be facing is either the ones we pick a fight with, or colonists or attack squads. Now, I probably think we are going to have some attack squads coming, and I'm not so sure about colonists, to be honest. The colonist groups I don't think will be coming, because I think there's so much possible places to colonize that's outside our walls that we're probably gonna have to wait until until they pick a fight with us, or at least try to. Now, this wall have a bunch of turrets. All the yellow dots are turrets. They need ammunition. So the goal would be to produce ammunition and belt it all around and have inserters to feed the gun turrets, so the turrets always have ammunition and never runs out. Now, whether I'm going to do that now or later, I'm not sure. I probably should. Yeah, I should. So let's move this. I'm going to move it down here. drag this one over here, and we're going to do a lot more ammunition than we did before. There we go. And I'm not going to do the piercing rounds magazines. I'm going to do the yellow normal standard firearm magazines. But we are going to make them. We are going to make them go around the wall. That means since we need inserters, we are going to have to run a power line all the way around as well. But that is going to have to wait until the next episode. But I think we are going to explore a bit in the next episode. I'm going to set up the like this ammunition production first at the start of the next episode to get it going and have it here. Then I'm going to do the wall bit a bit later and do a bit of exploring, because I do think we need to find out what's out there a bit more than we already have. So, thanks for watching, goodbye, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.